Right, everybody. Good evening and welcome to the Radford Town Council Town Meeting. I'm Councillor Steve Alban. I'm the chair of Radford Town Council, and this is not. Let me just explain. This is not a council meeting. This is a meeting for you as the electorate. And as the chair of the Town Council, I have the power to call this meeting and will be your chair this evening. So please can you raise your hand when you want to speak, wait until you're called to speak and do not talk across or interrupt other speakers, just so everyone has a chance to have their say and whatever. So I think if we take that on board. Unlike a council meeting, all present have the right to speak and to have a vote if that's what you want to do. However, I should say that any votes taken does not commit the town, district or county council to any action. But anything that you say that you think is relatively really important, then we will take that on board. I can assure you of that. Because the matter must be considered by the relevant authorities through their normal decision-making process, and this is an opportunity to let your elected representatives know your thoughts. Please can I ask, I haven't done it myself, but if you've got a mobile phone, if you could just turn it to silent, that would be helpful. The emergency exit is the way that you came in. And the air hostess at the back there, who is pointing to the will show you where the way to get out. And we should congregate in the front of the building if that occurs, which hopefully it won't. This is an opportunity for you as local residents to discuss your concerns in relation to the town and elected members present to listen. That's the important thing for us to listen to you, not to continue to excuse me. Right, so the first item on the agenda is about the minutes of the town meeting, which were held on the 22nd of March 2023. And the draft minutes are here. I should have been on the chair as well. If they haven't been, the draft minutes are here. And they have been on our website for anyone's to look or whatever. But so they are there on the website if you want to see. Item 3. Oh, sorry. Yes, we are asking to be approved. So can I ask? Yes. If anybody wants to wait, we'll wait and let people have a quick whiz through. Yes, sir.
I mentioned something on the minutes from the last meeting relative to the forum at the end.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So can I just ask members who were here last year, has anybody got any comments to make on the minutes from last year?
There's two from.
Yeah, the gentleman said he was going to raise it on. Oh, okay. Anybody else got anything to say?
Just one follow-up. We have the police inspector last year talking about the new policing structure and housing. Is the big follow-up from him to nothing has come to place.
Nothing specific from himself. Obviously, we are contacted as ward councillors to notify us of the PCs that are within our ward districts. And unfortunately, like most of how the police seem to operate these days, they're not within the areas very, very long and they're moved elsewhere. And sorry.
They put a report in
this magazine which goes around to everyone, but it tells you who might be local.
But I've had no specific contact from you. Anybody else at all? No? So members, can I ask you to have a recommendation for approval?
No.
Councillor Hutton and Councillor Dempsey. All those in favour, say so. Thank you very much. So the minutes are agreed. Right, so my report to you is that in May 2023, 18 newly elected councillors started a 4-year term. Sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's my own classes. I don't sit down. Yes, sorry. In May 2023, 16 newly elected councillors started a 4-year term of office, and we saw 3 new faces join the council. 13 of our members are also district councillors, and I was elected chair of the council, and Councillor Pat Moore returned as mayor. And there's going to be a different mayor shortly. As many of our members remain the same, the direction, projects and priorities of the council have largely continued, and we've been able to progress projects that were previously started just after the pandemic. In the last year, there's been a noticeable improvement in our relationships with Thanet District Council, which was a situation that marred many of our activities for several years. It's been a slow process, but the improvement at Thanet District Council, which, as you might all know, which started with a complete reorganisation of the corporate management team there, are being positively felt. And we do have a lot of good work in the relationship now. Hopefully, the District Council is starting to see the Town Council as an asset that can be of assistance, particularly if it involves borrowing equipment such as our nifty lift, which they use, which has not always been the case in the past. We have been in discussions with Thanet District Council about how better to manage a variety of assets, and whether these assets would be better cared for by the Town Council. Some of these include the Eastcliff lift, the Eastcliff bandstand, Waterhead skate park, and various other small pocket parks across Ramsgate. In January, the budget for 24-25 was approved with a 4% increase. This amounts to an increase of £3.33 per year for a band property, or 28 pence per month. The Town Council precept remains around 5% of the total council tax bill. We sadly lost Councillor Dark earlier this year, and the formal notice for a vacancy has gone out, and we understand that the residents of Norfolk have called for an election. Excuse me. Which will take place in May. I would like to take the opportunity to thank all of our hard-working staff, all of whom go above and beyond to support the council, and who I'm pleased to report get a lot of praise, particularly the technicians for the work in the community which they achieve. I will now hand over to my fellow councillors who will update you on specific projects. First I'd like to invite our worshipful, the Mayor, Councillor Moore. Would you like to say anything? Please.
Good evening all. I'm Councillor Moore, I'm Mayor of Ramsgate. And I like to think that what I am about is to serve, to support and to promote Ramsgate That's why I'm here. That's why we're all here. And this is what I've been trying to do. I've had a trip to Chimay in Belgium to receive an award, which wasn't for me, although it had my name on. It's for Ramsgate. Then we're going to hopefully go to Conflans in France very soon, in June. I've already paid for my hotel myself, and when I went to Chimay, I took beer from our local brewery. It's like close to Newcastle, because in Chimay they have a 1,000-year-old brewery right in the town centre. But they enjoyed the beer, so they told me, and they gave me a good discount on it. And the Mayor of Conflans said he's never been invited to Ramsgate, so I invited him. And I've arranged with the brewery, our brewery, to take him round. He's going to have a taster of their beer. I hope he's sober at the end of it. And he's going to stay a few days. Because I've been to Conflans several times, and it's been lovely. And I've tried to get people to recognise Ramsgate by always putting them on the events list. And so we started at the top with the Lord Lieutenant of Kent. She came on Saturday, went to the tunnels. I was really so proud of it. She brought her husband, Lord Coldrain, and 2 grandchildren. It was all very interesting. They stayed a couple of hours and then they went. And then it was for something that's starting at the tunnel, is going to be part of it, and it's called Wheels of Time. It's for children. Every historical museum or house that they go to, they get a badge. And when they collect 20, they get a big one free. And then, well, the others are free as well. And then they get, it goes up 20, 30, 40, 50 more. And so it really is something to look forward to. We've also had the High Sheriff of Kent come. She came to the Holocaust. And you're getting these people coming in who wouldn't normally, because they didn't know you. But the more we put our name in front of them, the more I hope they'll come, and it'll stick in their head sometime, and they will come and see more of it. I'm cutting a ribbon at Menka, which is most dear to my heart, as it was with the previous mayor, and it's always such a lovely, warm place to be. Anybody can go there. It's really good. People are so nice and helpful. And I went to another one at the football ground, cutting a ribbon there. I tried to save money by not cutting it. The photographer said, "Would you do that again? Will you cut it, please?" And then we had fun there because a poor man sat in a chair against a wall, and we all threw wet sponges at him. That was great. And I was taken around the football ground, and everything is so interesting, and we've got so much here that nobody else has, and we should advertise it and get more people coming. The more people who come, the more money we're going to make, and the less your taxes are going to be. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Now we'll pass over to Councillor Green. He is our Finance and General Purposes Chair.
Thank you, Steve. My name is David Green. I'm the Ward Councillor for Radford Ward. And as Steve said, I'm the Chair of the Council's Finance and General Purposes Committee. This means, as well as finance, this committee is responsible for our staff and various other items of council business that don't fall to any other committee. Led by our town clerk, we've been heavily involved in reviewing all the operations of the council. And this means, as well as finance, this year and making improvements and changes. One new innovation that will come into force next year is a new grant scrutiny panel. We hand out each year on your behalf about £90,000 worth of grants to various organisations in the town. So we need to do that properly. All decisions that are made in public, we felt that having a small committee to look at grant applications in more detail and to advise the committee would be a useful thing to do. That's what we're going to try this year. In terms of grants, our two biggest grants by far are £20,000 that we give to the Citizens Advice Bureau in the town. This is to enable the CAB to provide a drop-in advice service for residents. It's the only one in town, so it's an important resource for people in the town. The other large grant, it is a new one this year. That's High Factory Music. You may know that the County Council, because of their own financial straits, has cut all the grants to youth services in town. We felt that we couldn't afford in Ramsgate to lose that. We have enough trouble with youth in the town already. And we wanted this three drop-in sessions a week, just so that youths can have somewhere to go. I was looking with the chair to visit my factory. We were really impressed with what they do, particularly in the areas of research. I think the main thing they provide is other adult resource for the youth. So we're really pleased to be able to do that. Other items that we're responsible for are a bit of a mixed bag. We're responsible, that's my committee is responsible for our allotments, and we're going to be installing accessible toilets in 40 of our allotment sites this year. We've completed the safety audit of all the council's trees, and really good work is got the We've had to make a number of trees. Trees.
Trees.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I thought that was a council.
Now, this is trees on Ramsgate Town Council's land.
I thought that was
Mainly on the allotments, but also on the wanted we've had to make quite a number of repairs and maintenance of the custom house, which is Town Council's part this year. And last year we welcomed a number of new staff. These are replacements for staff that have left. The new technician, the mayor's PA, and an allotment officer. Also created one new post, office administrator post, to assist the town clerk and deputy town clerk. On a personal note, I've been nominated to represent Ramsgate Town Council on the new Climate Regeneration Partnership Board. That's the board that is going to be monitoring the two huge grants that TDC for regeneration. The town's fund in Margate and the Levelling Up fund in Ramsgate. So it's important that we get the best use of those funds, because we probably won't get them again for a long time. Finally, two other items that my committee is responsible for. That is Radford House, where we are now, and for the climate change task force. The two people leading those two are going to speak to you next. Comes to this.
Thank you, David. Questions at the end, if you've got those, if you just bear with us till we get through this, and then we'll forward them to you. Okay. Next is Councillor Nixie, and she's the chair of the Radford House Committee, overseeing the explain.
Cheers, hello everybody, so I'm Councillor Nixie. So Radford House, the building that you're in at the moment, used to be, well, it was a Georgian townhouse originally, and then it became the fire stations. I'm sure a lot of you realise that until it moved out to their new premises. So we have the building, and we, from the beginning, we wanted to make it a community use building. And if you were here last year, you'd had the annual town meeting here as well, and I explained that we would go through the process of looking at the building, what we would do, and so on and so forth. So a year down the line, and a lot's happened in that time. And I hope some of you know some of this as well. So the building basically has this floor. It has a floor above, there's a sort of a lot of smaller rooms, and then there are rooms on the top with one long particular room. Okay, so we've got a lot of great rooms we use up there. The very first thing that we did, as you can imagine, is put central heating back up and running. That's always good, isn't it? And we changed the toilets from being just usual toilets to accessible toilet, same toilet, but we changed that so that we are servicing the community when they come in and they're able to access that. And along that, making it watertight and safe, we've done a vast, extensive programme of external works. So that what we could do from then on was have something called meanwhile use. So we have, under fantastic personal employee Susan Humphries, we have done a whole, almost a year now, I think, of uses within the building of people coming in and borrowing the space for free, or renting it out, or renting the rooms and so on and so forth. So let me go through some of those with you. And the reason we did this is because we want to know how we can use the building. So when the building is refurbished, we have a good business model to make the building work and pay for itself. And again, the idea being for the community. So we have a number of tenants upstairs who provide a base income to help subsidise the community events. There's things from art studios, community groups that have got buildings, and places that use it as office space. However, it's not just about that. The NHS are using our building. The NHS, the mental health services at the Beacon is shutting down. They came to us and said, look, we need rooms, could you help us? We were in a fortunate position, the town council was in a fortunate position, is yes, we've got rooms that you can use. So this mental health service that would have been lost to Ramsgate otherwise has now been established here for the time that they are doing their building works and everything at the Beacon. I think that's vitally important. They see one-to-one sessions with different clients, and we're trying to work with them for other things we can do. Kent County Council likewise has said we need space, we need to be able to use anything, building, have you got something? We managed to say yes. So it is, when we say the community, we mean across the board. We have a weekly chat time session on a Tuesday morning that's very popular for people to come socialise and hear talks about a variety of topics. And that's been brilliant because it is a sort of like come in, have a cup of tea, listen to a talk or what have you, get a chance to, get out of the cold. It's not the warmest rooms, is it? But come in, sit down, socialise, do something for a couple of hours, and then know that you've spoken to somebody that day if you've been out on your own or away from people. We have something starting next week called Take Back Your Power sessions to support people who've come through cancer with holistic wellbeing treatments. There's been a fashion show to raise money for charity, parties, crafts, singing, arts, drama, yoga, mental health services, children's activities, training workshops for businesses. Several community groups have used Radford House as a meeting place, including the creation of the Ramsgate Horticultural Society. This place is buzzing, let me tell you. it's been necessary to submit a further planning application. So this time last year, we had a planning application that was approved. For one reason or another, it wasn't fit for purpose, what we wanted to do originally. We had to change things. Because it's the building it is, we have to put another planning application in. That's in, and we're just waiting for that to go through the process. It's small tweaks, but it's something that you have to do with a listed building. Where am I? The plan of action is to have all the fine details. This is where we're at the moment. Now, many of you know the building industry, we're on REBA stage 3. So we're at the point now where we're saying, you know, yes, the plug sockets are going there, yes, we want these light fittings and so on and so forth. So we've gone through the whole stages. We're at the point where we're going to get that signed off and confirmed. Once we've got the planning application back from TDC and the rest of it, we're good to go out to tender for a builder. And then the idea is, if we're, you know, all these forms in place, we go out for tender for them to start this summer. I mean, that's a bit of a, you know, moving target at the moment, but that's the idea. We're always trying to do things, you know, efficiently and to get stuff done as quickly as possible. We've also applied for grants. Obviously, this is going to take money, but the whole idea of meanwhile uses, I mean, heating is a good example actually. It was a case of like, right, let's heat the building, like how much does it cost? Well, that's a lot of money, what can we do to save that? So all the time we're thinking, this is what it was, how can we improve it? You know, how can we get a new boiler or put insulation in and so on and so forth. Meanwhile use again, it's like this is the building, you know, these are the rooms that we're renting out, does that cover the cost of everything? Yes, fine, if no, then we tweak it and so on and so forth. So this whole meanwhile use is to promote a business plan that makes this work. And on that note, one of the things that makes it work is people giving us feedback. That's really crucial to us. So if people hire the space or if they use the space, we say, right, could you explain, you know, give us give them a questionnaire, give us feedback, and that works into our business plan as well. So guess what you're doing when you leave? Could I ask you to? There's a customer service, sorry, start memory. There's a questionnaire, a user survey to complete at the end of this meeting, please. Printed copies are at the door, I believe, if not they will be. And, or, because we're logically advanced, we have QR codes that you can shoot your phone at, and then take you directly to the survey as well. And that will help us, you know, it helps us help you, because this place is for you, and it's hugely popular. We've had fantastic feedback. With the space like this, so we can open the doors up in the summer, or we've got spaces up there that people might not be able to access for one reason or another, whether it's economic or socially or what have you. But we can actually pick and choose how we can help people, and that's absolutely brilliant. So for all of you, come and see them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you. Next, I'll pass you over to Councillor Austin, and she's the chair of our climate change task group, and she will give you an update as to what we're doing, hopefully, to help plan it.
Hi, I'm Tricia Austin. I'm Green Party Councillor for Central Harbour Ward, during Central Harbour Ward now, along with Goshen here and Becky Harbour Ward this evening. And I chair the Climate Change Task Group, and it's an interesting group because, first of all, it's partly councillors and partly residents. And if anybody is interested in joining the group, then grab me afterwards, because we've still got space for more residents. At the moment, we have Michael Foley, who is a sustainable building expert, who's been a great help with this building and the other one to try to make things more sustainable there. We have Eddie Gadd, the brewer, who has just joined us, and we have Phil Shotton from the Ramsgate Society. We're always up for more residents because we can get a bit inward looking just as councillors, so we're really interested in talking to other people. We put together an action plan for 2023-24, and it had three main sections. The first one was what we're going to do ourselves in our own practice as council. The second one was how we're going to work with other councils and other bodies, and the third one was how we're going to work with the community. In terms of the work that we've done ourselves as a council, Anne-Marie's just talked about working on this historic building and the one that we're occupying down there, looking at what we can do within the confines of listed historic buildings to make them more sustainable, cheaper to heat, better insulated, all those kinds of things. And that is ongoing work. It's not cheap. But it is going to save us money in the long run and make the buildings more user-friendly in the long run, as well as reducing their carbon impact. We've done a variety of other things as a council. We've put together a green procurement policy, thanks to Town Clerk. We've got an electric van for our technician team. We have bought refurbished laptops rather than new ones. We have improved our recycling, a whole series of things like that. On the work with the community, we have a variety of exciting things happening, some of them in this space. So we are starting a repair cafe. We had our first volunteers meeting on Sunday. It will be here and it will start after Easter. It will happen on a Sunday morning once a month. It will be a pop-up through the summer until the building work starts to gauge demand. And we have a variety of skills represented. At the moment, we have sewing and fabric repairs and upholstery repairs. We have woodwork repairs, furniture, tool sharpening, etc. And we are working with Pie Factory, who David mentioned earlier, who are going to come and do bike maintenance, because they do bike maintenance up on their main site. They're going to come and help us with that. So there's a variety of things going on there, and a spin-off from that is the beginnings of a town shed. I don't know how many of you have been to Broadstairs Shed. This is going to be nothing like that, because they've got an enormous industrial building with huge amounts of equipment, and we're going to be here, and we're going to have to clear up after every session, because the next session is going to be singing, or the refillable van, or whatever. So we're going to try out shed-type activities in a space that's probably not best designed for it, but at least is big and spacious, and we're going to see how that goes. And we've already had a lot of interest in that, both from residents and from people like one of the surgeries, where the practice nurses say, we've got a lot of isolated guys who'd really like to come and do something. They don't necessarily feel comfortable just coming to the chat time for a cup of coffee, but if they had a project to work on, then they'd come. So we're going to try that out as well and see how that goes. And brilliantly, Susie Humphreys, who's running the meanwhile use for Radford House, has just managed to acquire us a bit of a grant, which will help us get that going, and we've applied for another grant as well. So fingers crossed on that. We are looking at reducing plastic bottle use by signing up to the refill scheme, where pubs, cafes, etc. can let people go in and fill their water bottles for free. The research by Refill shows that the average person actually spends £5 in the place that they go and fill their water bottle for free. So why would you not, if you're a landlord or go with that? And we've also put in an application for a water fountain on Ramsgate in Sands. We've got a variety of plans to expand food growing, to do some tree planting, some hedge planting and so on, probably later in the year, now in the autumn. And we've got stuff going out in the magazine that comes through your door, hints and tips, things that you can do to reduce your own carbon footprint, but also ways that you can engage with us on doing that. And the most recent version of that was the climate issue, and has had a lot of interesting feedback from people. On the third area, which is working with other councils, working with TDC, as Steve has highlighted, is working much, much better now. And we've got a variety of collaborative work going on. So, for example, TDC Cabinet have made the decision that we're not going to use glyphosate weed killer out there in our spaces, which is great. Sadly, Kent is still going to be using it, but that's another thing to be dealing with. And we're working with the climate change group in Planet on things like air pollution, for example, and car oiling. So there's a variety of things there. Working with KCC is more challenging, as somebody's highlighted already. They've got their own budget issues, but also things like us wanting a 20-mile-an-hour zone all around the town centre is proving immensely challenging. They are not keen on that at all, even though they are installing 21-hour zones in other parts of Barnet and other parts of Kent. So we're just carrying on with that discussion and hoping that we'll get some over with. But that sort of collaborative work is another part of what we're trying to do, and we hope to progress later in the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just so that you're aware of what's going on in London House, because like I said, it covers a lot of what Tricia does as well. There is a sign outside with the events on that you can see. And also, Radford House has an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and events and everything are on there, as well as the RTC website. And a poster at the back that we produce every month.
And the thing I promised I would mention, which is not directly to do with climate change, is the Great Ramsgate Spring Clean, a series of little things starting this Friday and running for 10 days. If you want to come and get involved, please do. All the details are there, or ask me, or ask Guy, and producers all our own. Yeah, anytime.
Thank you ever so much for that. And so I'm now going to pass over to Councillor Hetherington, and she is the chair of our planning and infrastructure committee.
Cool. This is a little bit drier, I'm afraid, than everybody else's presentation, although it would be a lot better had I read out your AI speech before we leave. The Planning and Infrastructure Committee has been consulted on 262 planning applications this year, of which the committee made comment on 56 applications. The committee also made comment on 4 licensing applications. So we've been consulted on and made comment on all of the following consultations. That's site access to the New Main Road, the Ramsgate neighbourhood plan, the zebra crossing proposal at Chatham House School, recently accident, the Ramsgate Highways Improvement Plan, Kent Highway Speed Limit Order, that's Fraction Lane, the Sealing Project, and the Kent Cycling and Walking Infrastructure Plan. The Planning and Infrastructure Committee is also going to consult the public on the neighbourhood plan in the near future. And there is a highways improvement plan that has been created by the councillors. And I would like to extend my thanks to my fellow councillors, particularly on this committee, for all the hard work they put in over the last year. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, and last but not least, I'm going to pass you over to Councillor Crittenden, who is the chair of our town promotion committee.
Thank you. I'm going to start by mentioning something that two of my fellow councillors have already mentioned, because I happened to have a conversation with my aunt last night, who mentioned that her husband had brought some tools down here. And then she went on to say, when are they going to start using Radford House? So to pick up on what Councillor Nixon was saying, talk about it. Facebook, whatever, because people actually still don't know that anything's happening here. So I breathed, I took a deep breath and talked to her about some of the things that have been going on. I'm sure I forgot as many as I remembered to mention, but nonetheless, I'm going to be taking a photograph of that before I go so that I can then text it to her. But I just wanted to mention, to pick up on what's already been said. Anyway, like Councillor Hetherington said, I had the AI speech, and I'm sorry, but I really couldn't read it in a straight face. So I've gone back to the Radford, and I've got my cards. So I'm Helen Crittenden, I'm chair of town promotion, and it's a privilege to be chair of town promotion. It is one of the committees that I think has got so many little bits of strands to it. There's a little bit thing happening there, and a big thing happening there, that I'm not even going to attempt to try and cover everything that's done. Just touch on as much as I can. I regularly meet with the town centre and tourism manager, and it's a bit like watching someone spinning an awful lot of plates. She's got so many things going on. But overall, the town centre, town promotion committee is, and her work is about encouraging tourism as well as making the town more attractive for the benefit of local businesses and residents. I think that probably, I hope, sums it up. One of the things that is what I think of as the flagship project within town promotion has been running for a number of years, and that's Active Ramsgate. Last year we decided to refresh Active Ramsgate a little bit, and we decided, as doing that, to bring the management of Active Ramsgate in-house. It had been done by contractors. And so Simon joined us at the beginning of this council year. And we've had him in the background doing an awful lot of work, doing some research and just looking at what's been happening and what needs to happen going forward. But we're going to make him work even harder because Active Ramsgate Week has been revived and that is starting up. And I think it's the first week of May. No, I should know the date, but it's in May and it will be advertised. So that's Active Ramsgate. Last year, we began a project called the Open Spaces Strategy Group, which has worked a little bit alongside some of what climate changes has been doing. Mainly with two strands to it. One is to see how we can try and work more with volunteers and provide some support for volunteers, gardeners I should say, volunteer gardeners. And also with our technicians in the work that they do in supporting some of the gardening and the works around keeping some of the flower beds nice and weeded and other things that they've been doing in conjunction with volunteers and TBC. And the phrase that came up from the technician was pocket park, so nice places, little spots that everyone else ignores. And Facebook Thursday, which has taken me a year to remember that phrase, to just try and improve the things around rainbow graffiti and different things around our town centre. Some of the other projects that are going on and should be getting near completion is the lighting in the harbour arches, which Rebecca's been working on. Something you might have seen in another project is a wayfinding route, which is marked by the ravens. I can see some nodding, so I was quite pleased when I was up at Ramsgate Railway Station a week ago to see the raven. I've got a raven. There's also one of the model ravens in Albion Gardens now. I'm not sure if any of the others have been spread around yet. So I don't
End of March.
Sorry?
End of March.
End of March, okay, so that's just the one there. There is some work that Rebecca's working on working with the businesses at the upper end of the high street, which I think is still very much under discussion. And she has been spinning plates like absolutely mad for the last couple of weeks because we had a very, very, very last minute offer from TBC to spend some of the last pennies from the HS Has money, but we had to spend it within a certain time on a certain product, and we've been trying to get the best use we can out of that potential £50,000. I haven't spoken to her in 24 hours, so I'm not quite sure where that's at, but it was looking good when I last spoke to her. We can always find ways of spending more money to make the town nicer. Unfortunately, there isn't enough to do as much as we would like. And we do try to make the best value of what we do have to spend. And we've had to make a couple of hard decisions this last year, and those are the palms, which we're keeping. They're still going to be there, but we're going to have to move them around a bit so that it makes some of them planted. Yes, we're moving them around. So some are going to be planted out in permanent sites, and others are going to be moved to where they are more easily maintained than where they are at the moment. So that's going to be happening. We'll be seeing that happen over hopefully the next few months. And the other decision that we had to make is after several of the events being cancelled, mainly because of the weather, is that we won't be doing the fireworks for the New Year's Eve coming up. However, on the back of that, we have increased our events funding. And my last card, very, very quickly, the Visitor Information Centre is now open 6 days a week, winter and summer, and thanks to the volunteers for that. The Community Ad magazine goes out to all 21,000 Ramsgate households, and actually a lot of people mention it to me. It's very popular, so it really does feel like that is good value for money. And there is a new collaboration going on between Ramsgate Town Council and TBC to create a new creative experience to be launched soon. I won't say any more about it in minutes, but there is a competition and a prize in there somewhere as well. So look out for it. And that's it, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, that's all from us. I'm sorry it's taken us as long as it has, because we need to give you just bear with me. Did you want to make a comment on what's been said? No, you're okay at the moment?
Just indicate I'd like to say something when we get to it.
Oh, absolutely. We do have a guest presenter this evening, and I'm pleased to announce our visitor, Carl Whitehead. He's the leader of Ramsgate Salvation Army, and he will give a presentation on the activities of the Salvation Army and the work to help people in the community. I will also say that most of us as town councillors have had the opportunity to work with Carl and his team. Some of the town councillors work there on Christmas Day, dishing out the Christmas gifts for people who haven't got a home or whatever. So Carl's an absolute pleasure to work with, and so while he's crackling about at the back there,
Apparently, I can only speak for 10 minutes. If you ask my congregation on Sunday if I ever limit to 10 minutes, they would laugh. So here we are. This is a popular pub question. Okay. A popular pub quiz question. Who started the Salvation Army? Well done. Another question you had is, when did it start? 1865, and its motto? Love and fire. Okay. It gets you into the mood of where we're going with our little thought. The Salvation Army is very well established worldwide, 134 countries, and it's in the top 10 recognised charities within the United Kingdom, amongst all age groups, and within a certain age group, I think, which is heavily represented here, it's in the top 2. And of course, in the minds of many, it is still the bonnet, the band, and the collecting pot. Some things have changed. They don't wear bonnets anymore. One thing that has not changed is our commitment to love God and love others. It's our psyche. It's what really drives us, our desire to try to help others. William and Catherine Booth, and I needed to correct you actually, they are the founders of the Salvation Army, because it was one of the first churches that actually recognised the equality for women. So Catherine Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, with women. They saw within the United Kingdom many cities in which the impoverished poor were really rejected by society and by the mainline churches. They never ever intended to start a church, but just to tell people about the love of God. The idea was that people would then go to church, but they found no home in church. So they continued to cling to William and Catherine, and so the movement grew. William and Catherine never intended to start a social works programme, but they also realised that no one would ever be convinced that they were loved by God if they had cold feet and an empty stomach. And so what began in the Victorian era, a most remarkable set of innovative works, things like the UK's first employment scheme, things like a drug and alcohol addiction services. That rich heritage, soup kitchens, employment exchanges, homeless hospitals, addiction services, missing persons, ministry to prisoners, continue to shape our work today. But it's tragic, isn't it, that 150 years later we are still doing the same things that William and Catherine started to do, because our society in many ways is still fractured and many people are still falling through the cracks. 150 years on, some things have stopped. For instance, we don't have children's homes, we don't have hospitals or maternity hospitals, although I still meet people who are proud to say, I was born in one of your maternity homes. I resist saying it was often a place where unmarried mums could go and safely have their children delivered without judgment. For the record, the Salvation Army has treated 250,000 inpatients and 1.4 million outpatients in its hospitals overseas, and educates more than 1.5 million children in 2,500 schools. So it's a quick overview of our history and where we get to within Ramsgate. One of the joys of our structure is that we can adapt our ministry to suit local needs. So a typical week might be, well, we start on Sunday, of course, that's the beginning of we church, and lots more church, and lots of singing, and I'm not going to make you do it. And Sunday school, children are important to us. Monday through to Friday, every morning at 6:30, we open up the hall for those that have been on the streets overnight, providing food and clothes and support, opportunities to use computers and telephones and so on. On Monday, we start during the daytime with Little Fishes. It's a parent program. And our desire to reach across the whole of our community, from the very youngest through to the very oldest, is, I think, obvious as we look through. We have a trauma workshop on Monday afternoon, something called ACES, Acquired Childhood Experiences, to help people who are really struggling with what has happened to them in earlier years. We have an alpha dinner and an alpha course, because we want to give an opportunity for people that might want to know about it. On Tuesday, we start with prayer, and then there is food collection and food preparation. And I think some of you are part of my team that go out collecting food. Every night of the week, every day of the year, we go and collect surplus food from supermarkets that we can use to supplement the food we get from the shops. Tuesday morning is the well. It's a trauma-informed drop-in for people that really need to know that people love them. And there's lots of tea, coffee and cake. And then there's a lunch, because we do food a lot at the Salvation Army. Ukrainian Community Hub, we'll talk about that in a few moments. And then we have a Bible study, and we have continued to connect using Zoom, because although COVID's finished, there are still people that prefer to be at home rather than coming out. And then at the moment, we're running marriage preparation classes if anybody's interested. Wednesday starts with a friendship club, lunch club, preaching this time to older folk. And we have so many of them say, it's the only thing we do during the week. You know, I don't want to have to go to the doctors on Wednesday because I want to come to the lunch and club. Other organisations use our building, much as you try to do with Radford House. We've got Speak Up on Wednesday. We do kids' music classes. We're paying for 25 children to have free music lessons every week, because there's a crisis really within schools these days in being able to get free music education for children. And we have adult music because we love to play the band. And then on Thursday, Forward Trust use our hall. Tomorrow, DWP will be doing a jobs training centre. And then in the evening, we're running a workshop, which you can hear from Mayor of Ramsgate. It's great. Friday's Food Bank Day. As well as being able to distribute food that has been donated to us, we've also got others who can offer guidance and signpost people to other organisations. And the Salvation Army's Employment Plus will come and seek to help people. And then the Ukrainian language classes, Kids Club dinner. So we realised that kids were coming to our kids club. When it came to snack time, well, there was nothing left, including packaging. They were coming hungry. So we decided we'd have a meal before the kids club started. So that's something we started since Christmas. And then we have youth fellowship on Friday evening. And Saturday you can come to our mini market. You can also buy Ukrainian pasta Easter cakes, because that's taking place. We're open every day of the week. And we see people coming into our building every day of the week for help. Just before I left the hall, Mum and her daughter of 13 came. They had slept out the last 2 nights in the park. They'd been to Thanet Council, they hadn't had the help they had hoped for. We spent 2 hours trying to get Thanet Council to answer the telephone. Okay? I put them in a taxi and said, go and sit outside the office until someone sees you. At 5:30 they phoned and said they won't help. So we put them in a hotel that night. hoping that tomorrow we might get some engagement. On the sheets are so many stats, and we produced this actually for our volunteers. We've got over 70 volunteers who deliver the programme that we've got. And let me just talk you through some of the figures. We okay for time. Over 600 people come into our building in a typical week. Yeah. Last year, the value of our food parcels was £73,000. It was over 2,800 food parcels provided to families. You'll see an increase in demand year on year. What you'll also see is a reduction in the amount of donations that we get. So people being generous in supermarkets has declined. So there is a gap that we are making good from funds that people donate to us. You can see how many plates and cups we washed, maybe not too interesting. But here we go, sleeping bags, bedding, tents, 48 interventions, about one a week. Yeah. 650 items of clothing provided, 9,000 meals of one sort or another last year through the doors of Ramsgate Salvation Army. 130 children, from the very youngest through to our youth, coming into our centre for some form of children's activity. And we collected 17 tonnes of food last year that we distributed out. We look on the back page because I recognise that homelessness is something that most of us see as a big need to improve. Last year, we spent nearly £3,000 providing the sort of accommodation that I described in hotels. Because for one reason or another, the council were not able to respond fast enough to avoid somebody being on the streets. Now there are lots of men each night sleeping on the streets. But when a mum and a child come, there is nothing we can do other than say, we will find you a hotel. There was a real issue early part of this year where those who have come over on small boats who then find themselves in prison are released from prison and sent to the local probation office. And no provision for early life conversion. And probation phone us and say, this man has been discharged from prison, he's virtually naked, he has got the flimsiest of clothes, he doesn't speak English, he's got no food. We do not know what to do to him or him because he cannot come and see us until the next day. We've had police custody suites again phoning us saying, we are going to be releasing somebody, but they will be on the streets. And so we have spent a lot of money just providing hotel accommodation. We recycled 21 tonnes of clothes. Some of you will be rejoicing on that. Rather than it going to landfill, it went either that we could share it with people in need, or it went to the Salvation Army. And finally, we are so proud to be able to support the amazing Ukrainians in our community. We've got now 5 sessions a week, and we see over 125 people coming through our doors for the work that they're involved in. You are allowed to ask questions before I shut up.
Thank you, Carl.
You do.
What more help from us?
Money. That's really, really blunt, isn't it?
But essentially, locally,
I mean, locally money, but also, and I'm not going to be so crude just to say it, I think there's lots of volunteering opportunities, and there's lots of opportunities to think, I have this item, I wonder if the Salvation Army could use it. So for instance, if any of you have got furniture, we desperately need to furnish 5 houses next week, because 5 Ukrainians will be moving from their host families into substantive accommodation, having spent 2 years trying to share a kitchen. So there are 5 houses that we need to furnish. If somebody has a great big warehouse, that would be amazing, because every now and again somebody says, I've got some furniture, but I'm using garages of members of my church that don't have cars anymore, dotted all over the place. So shout out the Radford house. During the COVID epidemic, this was a great big food store, which helped us enormously with storage and distribution of food. So, yeah. So, to answer the question, money, volunteering, just phone us up and say, I've got this, would that help you?
When it comes to clothing and furniture, are you able to co-work with some of the charity shops that are around that are selling them, sending stuff that's been donated to them. Is it something we're going to
We do give money for people to buy furniture from charity shops, yeah. So that's one way in which we can support people. But we like, if we're given furniture, just to give it out again, rather than to pay. But I know the model for a charity shop, of course, is to raise funds. But yeah, yeah. So some of the funds that we receive, Salvation Army headquarters were very generous in providing us funds for the work in Ukraine, for instance. So we're able to do that.
There's a very good Salvation Army shop in Minster.
Yes.
Isn't there? But there's one in Ramsgate.
No, no.
I used to go to Minster all the time on the number 9 bus work. We won't go there. But any thoughts about that?
I don't know. I probably every 6 months I think should we have a shop, should we have a shop? To be honest, if someone came to me and said, I will run a shop and you do not need to think about it, I'd probably say yes. But I think it would be a loss of focus because, you know, the whole mechanics of running retail would take so much energy. But you know, somebody who's coming into retirement and say, Carl, I'll run you a shop. I'll find you the building. I'll share the surplus.
I'll find volunteers.
All right.
Just quickly, because you said tonight that the new standards that need other councils to get it down.
Yes.
If you hadn't said that tonight, how would you know?
You wouldn't.
Right, so do you share it on
To
social
be
media?
honest, well, okay, somebody else to become a volunteer to improve our social media. We're just not very good at actually reaching out to ask for help. I mean, we've got a website, but
Do you have a Facebook or anything like that?
we've got Facebook, we don't manage the Facebook account very well. I mean, the excuse is, I don't know, we perhaps haven't got the skills that we'd like to have, and maybe not the time, so. Another volunteer.
Carl, sorry, I'm going to have to wind you up.
Okay.
No. Hang on a minute, I'm sorry, we've got an open forum and I need to get back. Carl, I'm very concerned about what you said about the mother and daughter. There's my number.
Yeah.
Any problems tomorrow, give me a call and I'll contact the people concerned and ask them why that's happening. I'll get to the bottom of it.
Lovely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I do want to say one final thing, and I'm so
Yes.
sorry. The help that we as the Salvation Army get from the local council is amazing. And you know, I'm going to look at you, and you know that I'm looking at you because you have been so helpful. So we're very appreciative of that.
Thank you. Okay, right, everybody, it's now time for the open forum. The floor's open to you. If you try and get a question out, we'll have an asked out. So, over to you.
Thank you. Otherwise, you sound otherwise.
Well, no, do you?
Well, first of all, can I say how great it is to see we have a town council? Because for many years in Whitstable, I tried to get the town council established, but we failed dismally. They gave us what was called a Whitstable Area Members Panel, and it was basically made up of district councils, which is not quite the same. We haven't done that yet. So it's great to have a town council, and congratulations to everything you do, and more power to your work. I've got three things I want to raise, Mr. Chair. The two of them, not contentious, so I'll get to the first one is in the open forum. It says, you said it was discussed about threats, and that we were going to ask the Chief Executive of TBC to negotiate. Well, I spent 10 years both as a councillor in Whitstable and as the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Whitstable, trying to get rid of the threats, okay? Because they're immense. Heavy roads coming into the town, dust going all over the place. But we failed, dismally, because press are well in with cases. We, the town council, district council, don't stand a chance. Right? Asking the chief executive to do that, he knows, because he was there. He was our chief executive in council review for many years. Might I say, I've done a very good opinion on it. Very good answer, very straight, very right and proper. We're lucky to have him. But asking him to go and do this, because he was doing this sort of thing 20 years ago, he knows damn well he has to capitalize on us. So I just raise an observation there. And probably if and when we ever get a unitary authority, then we will get Brits off our harbour, because it's KCC who have the root. Right, second thing is that glaring omission, ladies and gentlemen, from tonight's proceedings, we're all wanting to promote the town. Tall ships initiative coming along 2026. Now, Ramsgate Society are dealing with this at the moment, I believe. Some people have put private donations in to get the feasibility study going, and we're waiting for some feedback on that. But when the moment comes, we're going to need a lot of pressure on TDC to cop up some money. It's not money that they'll get the money back. It's just pump right up, basically. In fact, they'll get it back over and above, at least they should. If it all goes well. But my goodness, we've put Ramsgate on that. And I heard today that it's not going to be a regatta as such, where they're going to stage it all the way along the south coast. They're actually going to stage it here, in Ramsgate. So that's even, basically more prominent, should we say, and much better for the town.
Councillor Green was coming.
Yeah, there we go.
Ramsgate Town Council granted Ramsgate Society, I think it was
£1,500.
£1,500 to do a business plan.
Sorry, that's who's going to that, sorry?
We did.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, that was to run the
I stand correct.
I think
It's just you didn't mention it, that's all.
Can't mention everything.
I think we're all excited by it.
It's
how
fantastic.
good that could be, but they need a business plan. That's what we've done.
No, I'm right behind it, it should work wonders for Ramsgate, I'm sure. The third thing, which is probably less, is more contentious, is this business of the statute. I noticed in open forum it came up that the council has not taken responsibility for the King George statue, although the fundraising continues. Now, obviously, we're very fortunate in our Royal Harbour, no one else in the country has that. It came to us via King George IV, not a particularly nice guy, but at the end of the day, he gave us Royal Harbour, so we should be at least grateful. But Dominic Grant, who actually spent almost 2 years of his life putting this thing together, I think it's a magnificent statue. And he did that as a labour of love to promote the town. And as we know, he lived it for the last 12 years of his life. And I believe that this is something the town council should get behind. And we should have that statue out there for people to look at. And I think too that it's almost disrespectful to Dominic Grant that we have not actually taken that on.
Well, I can ask you to agree that I have spoken with his widow on a few occasions, and has offered as much help as I can, and as much help as the town council can, in trying to support her and her task of getting the money to finish the statue. And as we know, like we had the lovely Brenda Blessed in the town, and she's helped a considerable amount, Julia, in relation to that. I think the problem for the town council is that the location that was originally thought of for the siting of the statue is actually on Kent County Council land, and we don't own, the town council doesn't own the pavement, the road, the harbour, it doesn't own any of it. And that's an issue that will need to be, that can be taken up. And I'm sure that I have partly seen it. I've seen it in part down at the harbour, and as you say, it's a monumental piece of work.
It's a wonderful piece of work.
Yeah, I think it's there are obviously concerns that if it was put in the main where they initially wanted it, which was on the corner opposite Harbour Street, that it would get vandalised, to be quite honest. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but the amount of work that is taken to do that, I'm really concerned about vandalism on it. So I think it needs to be, if it's done, it needs to be somewhere where it can be basically protected. So, but obviously, when the time comes, that's something that we're more than happy to speak to Julia about, and where she thinks it will be fine, and then to persuade if we can get it on Thanet District Council land, it would be better.
Well, I mean, where we push it is the, you know what I'm saying, secondary issue, the issue initially to get the thing finished.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Winston Churchill statue's been defaced many, many times, and it's still there, okay? You will always be idiots doing that.
Yeah, sure.
But I would suggest that it should be a very important position, because at the end of the day, that is what we're all about.
Yeah.
And we need this kind of thing to promote the town. For good or for bad, we've got to get the town somehow. And that's a brilliant way to do it.
Well, certainly, we're more than happy on that, as a current chair of the council, to work with Julia and to see what we can do and what help that we can get.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Any questions? Yes.
Right. Well, managing notes. I'm a resident of Meadowcourse, James Howes is my name. 12 months ago, before this very meeting, our local police commander, Chief Inspector Ian Swallow, announced that Kent Police would be relaunching neighbourhood policing. The launch would take place on the 7th of June 2023. Each ward would have a named officer assigned to it. Their time would be ring-fenced to prevent abstractions of the duties. Also in June, Matthew Scott, the Kent Police and Crime Commissioner, published a memo addressed the Kent Medway Police and Crime Panel entitled Neighbourhood Policing Review. The review explained the rationale behind the changes, stating the force must achieve a permanent revenue saving of 16 to 17 million pounds over the next 3 years. These objects will be achieved as to develop a neighbourhood policing model with fewer PCSOs and staff posts. While the same document, a joint vision statement by the PCC and Chief Constable, states we will retain neighbourhood policing as a bedrock of policing in Kent, while also highlighting clear principles the police are part of the community and that their power depends on public approval. Not quite what Peter says, but the principle is the same. The further states, neighbourhood policing is fundamental in providing opportunities for greater community engagement and delivering a localist approach to policing that is visible, accessible, and responsive to the needs and priorities of local communities. We were also informed that the launch of My Community Voice would provide a two-way engagement tool to find out what's happening in your area, receive alerts from your local officers, and tell us what matters to you. All this sounds marvellous, but 12 months later, how many here have met their ward officers? How many even know their name? How many alerts have been put out by our ward officers on My Community Voice? They've largely been silent, invisible, and so inaccessible, and deaf to the needs and priorities of local communities. The Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act 2011, Section 34, states engagement with local people. The Chief Officer of Police must make arrangements for obtaining reviews of persons within each neighbourhood in the relevant police area about crime and disorder in that neighbourhood. The Chief Officer of Police must take arrangements for providing persons within each neighbourhood in a relevant area with information about policing in that neighbourhood, including information about how policing is in that neighbourhood is aimed at dealing with crime and disorder there. Arrangements under this section must provide for or include arrangements for the holding in each neighbourhood of regular meetings between persons within that neighbourhood and police officers with responsibility for carrying out policing in the neighbourhood. Knowledge of policing will publish detailed neighbourhood policing guidelines in my offices. The local neighbourhood officer are either unaware of the guidelines or choose to ignore them. There is a severe lack of communication and community engagement being shown by the local police. I've been talking to the police for over 12 months since last meeting, trying to get this message across. I've got a spider deck of emails going back and forwards, But the question still remains, when can we expect these issues to be addressed? And we're not getting neighbour policing. What we do have is a community safety unit, which is basically another squad, another team. So all these neighbourhood officers are off the wards, working as a team, and doing hot patrols, hot points policing, basically, wherever the issues they consider to be a problem. The local residents don't have a look in. So we need to know what the difference is between a community safety unit, community safety partnerships, which is more to do with the council, neighbourhood policing, local policing teams, and community policing, because all these words are being bandied around, and either way we don't see police officers. So that is an issue. I've been trying to raise it through the police, through the council, and I'm just hitting a brick wall every time. So I think local residents should know about the issues that we need to address.
Thank you for that. I think it's, from a personal point of view, and certainly as chair of the council, I started a couple of years ago by asking the chief inspector to come along, which was Chief Inspector Swallow, and we wrote because we had a lot of issues of antisocial behaviour in the town, which still continues. There were specific targeted areas and which were causing our residents a problem. So we raised that, town clerk, myself, and I think it was Councillor Mendes, I can't remember now initially, maybe not, can't remember. So we raised these issues, and then we asked that we met every 6 months with the Chief Inspector and some of his assistants. That never came to fruition after the first meeting. Then we got advised about, as you quite rightly just said, about the police officers. So the PCSOs go in and getting specific police officers. Our concerns were, although the PCSOs were eyes and ears, they had no power of arrest, they had no power to basically do anything. So by having police officers there, they can arrest immediately or whatever, depending on the circumstances. As ward councillors, both the TDC and Ramsgate Town Council, we are notified of the police officers who are within our wards. We have contacted them in relation to various things, traffic issues, antisocial behaviour issues, and there have been times that I can advise you on what I know, and that is that they have responded to the issues that we have raised. The problem is, as I said earlier, is that they don't stay long enough within a ward or two, because most of them are two wards. Like our one, I'm an East Cliff councillor, and we've got the St Moses Montefiore ward. So our police officer covers both of those wards. And the problem is that they don't stay long enough. So once you start to meet them, you start to get a repartee with them, and they know who you are, and then they're shoved off somewhere else. It could be to a different town or whatever. And then we get somebody else, we don't know who they are, they haven't got the same communication that we have. So I agree with you in the fact that there aren't, well, number one, we all know, there aren't enough officers, there aren't enough visible. Although I must admit, I did see two police officers talking, and this guy ran into them on an electric scooter, believe it or not, and they nicked him. You know, they were there, but as you say, we need more prominence. And for those of us on the wards, Central Harbour Ward and East Cliff Ward, which have the bars and clubs along the harbour front, we have lots of issues there, which you can quite imagine. The residents, a lot of residents we supported because of the noise, because of drug taking, because of fights, because of knifing, etc., etc., etc. along there. So we have been able to get them to beef up their squads in the evening. We're also doing work, one of my colleagues is doing a lot of work with the with the people who come out and look after, volunteers who look after, especially women who are out at night, because that's a real concern, so that they're taken care of, they've got a safe place to go. I can't remember the wording, what they're called.
Community masters.
Community pastors, yeah. And that's fabulous. But the only person who can change any of it is the chief constable, along with the crime commissioner. We had invited, last year, we invited the police and crime commissioner to come down. He wouldn't come down. We've invited him on a couple of occasions to come down and see us. He won't come down. And now we've got an election coming up for another police and crime commissioner, whoever that may be, whether it gets in. And this is just my personal view, it's nothing to do with anybody else, but I don't see their worth. They don't do anything that I can see. That's just my, they've elected and don't do anything.
The argument is, then of course, since June we've had 3 officers being nominated to be the ward thing, and as soon as you get them, they move on.
Yeah.
I've taken it as far as the chief superintendent, who's East Kent.
Yeah.
And also approached the chief constable and the BCC as well. And last week or the week before, I spoke to a chap, Superintendent Krug, who's a chap who does a training on my community voice. And he says, they're going down the town next week. I'll have a word with the officers. And lo and behold, about 3 or 4 messages went out of my community voice, because presumably that word done. Since then, nothing happened. And it's so frustrating.
Thank you.
Well, I can add a little bit. I think, so this will work. Well, we've got to know who these guys, these policemen are.
Yeah.
It helps if they live in your ward, but they live in your town. That also helps. Now, when Asmos first came in, quite a while ago, there were no Asmos in Kent at all. I wanted one in Whitstable, Sidmouth Street.
I'm sure they can give you an house party.
I deserve out of Asmos, don't I? But on that occasion, I went up to see Chief Constable Denny Mason of Kent. And I confronted him and I said, why is it there are no Asmos in Kent? And I had to explain to him what Asmo was. He didn't actually seem to grasp it. I then went back to Whitstable, and fortunately we had a police sergeant who lived in Whitstable. He was actually the son of the former council. And he and I got the first depot south of Hull imposed on someone living in Sidmouth Street. Hull was the first one because where John Prescott lived at the end of it. And he got Asperger's going up there. But there was none south of there until we got one going in Whitstable. So actually, the ward councillors can have an effect here. As you said, I know the antisocial behaviour order thing has changed a bit, but at the end of the day, it's still, in my view, a very good way in which the council can get involved in preventing antisocial behaviour. And they do it in conjunction with the police, but you don't criminalise the young man at the time or the young woman at the time. You only criminalise them if they break it. And again, the council can be involved in that as well.
Yes, we can, and we have put as much pressure on as we can, locally, and I'm only speaking as a
Well, we don't know who the policemen are. They're essentially archers, okay? They're very swampy. We need that.
Well, that's up to them. I can't, it's up to the chief constable area, you put some staff, and that's.
We can ask them.
Yeah.
Can I move on to another point?
Sorry. Go ahead.
First one, sorry, something you mentioned, the town fund money, which is Margate and Radford, that was given 3 years ago, I think. That's one tranche of money. There was another tranche of money that was mentioned in this most recent budget by the Chancellor, up to £20 million in the town regeneration fund. I don't have the correct terminology for it. Do we know anything more about that, other than a single statement from Chancellor?
The short answer is no, we don't.
Right, I can actually give you a little bit. I can actually give you a little bit on it. As much as we do know, is that that funding has been given for over a period of 10 years.
Yeah.
And the money is released on basically, they won't give you the money. So they announce you'll get £20 million, but they don't give you the money. Right? And the money will be allocated over 7 years, although it's a 10-year fund. And what will happen is the council, which one? Will be TDC, right? But it's Stanley District Council, but it's for Radford and only for Radford. Obviously, Radford can recognise that it needs that money. Not only that, because it's coming up from elections, and that is what they're doing. I mean, that's just politics. But however, the main thing I think is that something has to be identified to be done, and it has to follow a criteria. I don't know what that criteria is, because they haven't given us the information. It's normal, they give you, tell you how much money, and then they don't tell you how you've got to do it until later. But our understanding is that we would have to recognise something, and then we pay for it, you or I pay for it, and then they decide if they're going to give you the money for it. So it's not a straightforward thing as we can see at the moment. For instance, we could go for money towards redoing the East Cliff Lift, and we know there's a lot of money that needs to be provided for that, and hopefully because that's something that we want to take on as a town council. But we would prefer that money to come from government to do it all up, and then we can take it on and run it. So it could be stuff like that. It could be anything to do with the town. But until we get the detail of it, we don't actually know.
Right, so thank you. I just want to make sure it's not sort of
Yes.
Just to go with what the chair said about, like money might be, out in the media that we're getting it, but actually when it comes to us, who knows when that is. To give you an example, a couple of years ago I was chair of Ramsgate Town Council, and there was a time during COVID when there was a case of, there was a pot of money, it was welcome back, town centres were going to get it to clean them up, get people back from the pandemic, get the businesses working, and so on and so forth. We are still waiting for that money. So if that money that we were going to get it, we never saw it. And that's the problem that we're dealing with the whole time, because people assume this money comes down to us. So as Ramsgate Town Council and the Steve Council, because a lot of us double hands here, we really are working with what we've got, not what we're told we're going to get. And that is a lot of the problem with people's miscommunication, what they think they have, and reality they do have.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Gemma Dempsey. I'm the Festival Director for Ramsgate Festival of Sound. And as some of you in the room may know, part of our event goes on at the East Cliff in the little shelters. And it's been off at us. And we actually came up with the idea, my colleague Emma Gibson had a great idea. We're going to do a festival during COVID, how can we keep people apart? Well, guess what? It's gone really well. And last year we had food vendors, we had a bar, we had entertainers, as well as sort of busking, and an amazing band of 30 members, most of whom came from Ramsgate. It was a great event. So my concern is, and my question to you is, I've just seen that TDC are putting the shelters up for lease for £8,000. First year is free, while they're refurbished. So I will contact the events team, who I'm in touch with obviously, and there's an email on that advertisement on Facebook. But I just would like to address everybody here to see, do you know anything about it? How keen to it? It sounds kind of obvious to me, but obviously I'm keen to do that opportunity to put faster dust on and get into all this.
Yeah, what I do know is that whilst I'm a cabinet member of TDC, it's not something that I cover. But I can say that the £8,000 is for all of them. It's not just for one. Ridiculous. But it's for all of them. And I think if you go to the events team and say, look, we want to do this, whatever, we still want to carry on what we do, they can liaise with our estates, and I'm sure that we can accommodate. Well, I'm pretty sure of that. So If you don't, if you get a knockback, give me a shout, and I'll be happy to take it up when we are. Anybody else? Anything to say?
You've got an update on Ramsgate Market, because
Do you know, I knew that was going to be, but I was waiting for that.
it's really different stuff, but it says one thing, then it's this and that.
Yeah, well, funny enough, spookily enough, because of the meeting tonight, I wrote to the head of estates at TBC, who's responsible for getting it back, and I would say at this point that we all here have worked very hard to get that market back. We fought tooth and nail to get it off of the last administration that were reluctant and didn't really give too much care about Ramsgate, to be quite honest, however. We tried very, very hard to get it, and we're so pleased that has come to fruition. My own view was we were hoping that the market would be up and running by Easter. There was a date of the 4th of April, but I believe there has been, so I'm advised, that they are about a few weeks behind that, and it's basically to do with the company who are running the market that they've set up. So it will happen, and I'm hoping it will, and it will definitely, I'm certainly hoping it will happen before Easter. Well, I'm just saying, you know, I'm still hopeful. I'm an optimist. So, you know, I would love to be up for Easter, but however, if it's not, it should be this month, next month. Sorry, I'm sitting on it.
I think we should do on where and when frequency on the market.
On the market will start, will be either a Friday, it will be on a Friday, and possibly later on to see how that goes, they may expand it to a Saturday, and that will be every week.
Every week, on Friday, where?
That will be same location, was it the whole right, it will be in the High Street, go down to the crossroads with Queen Street and King Street, so it will go in there, and there'll be something else that'll be up stuff.
Congratulations on getting the market. What do you know is free parking on market day. Yeah. Like a heavy deal.
Yeah, well, lucky old Bill, you're not going to get it here. It's as simple as that. Although, what I can say is, there's always free parking on the Saturday in Ramsgate. And that is up at the car park in, Cannon Road. Always free parking on the Saturday. It might mean some people might have to walk down into the High Street, which I know is a pain, but it will do good. And they get free parking.
Just one more. Boundary changes.
Yes.
Being consulted on.
Yes.
Soon. Happened to TBC. Do you think that will affect TBC structure as well? Will that affect TBC structure as well?
It might do, depending on the boundary changes. So we will have to see on that.